because I'm probably just gonna mock it up. So let's say if I have turf. Okay, how big is the turf? Because I want to make it the same. That's gonna be tricky.
I think
it's like a 5x3. Yeah.
I think your scale might end up being a little different depending on the type of crew that you have.
Yeah, for sure. Let's start out with a basic map though, because like the other thing is I don't know that there's really like you can't have more than one layer in Blades. Like you can have additional turf and cover operations and all that, but
yeah, like where you're actually centrally located.
Yeah, I think I might have to make like a setting actually and make like a map of the city. So I'm just gonna leave that and not touch that with the 10-foot. That'll be like an entire game design session on its own. We'll be mocking up that map of the city.
Let's be real, it's not going to fit into one session.
Yes, this is fair.
Yeah, it's probably going to be cool.
And I think
I've seen you make maps before.
Well, this is not going to be.
This would be more like a.
It's going to be a giant spreadsheet. Let's be real.
Yeah. What you'd probably actually be doing is figuring out like your factions and how much control they actually have.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And then what they have control over, etc., etc.
I think there has to be an initial state for that's part of the game. Like, if you want to hack it to have a... You know, similar to Blades, it comes with the stock setting, but if you want to hack it to have a custom campaign setting, like, that's totally your bag. But I think what needs to happen is initially... Like, there's an initial state of all the gangs. And other factions.
That's what I gotta do.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what makes Blades work. Like, you start off with the same basic setup if you're using the default setting, but as soon as you play that first session, you're diverging from every other tables game.
Yeah.
So that by the time you're a few sessions in, you may still ostensibly be in Dustwall, but your game is completely...
Your Dustwall is different from someone else's, which is different from everyone else's.
Yeah, so let's actually just get rid of this because this is not even gonna be.
So I mean, unless you're talking about people who just want to make up their own setting, that's one thing. But like this, like in a sense, the setting's gonna be hacked just through play.
Yeah. Okay, so. Okay, so the summary. Let's actually put the summary, front load the summary just for my own sanity right now. So. Okay, your style confers a specific uniform or look for all of your gang members. Yeah, I don't know. Because I feel like in terms of game balance, it's going to be easier to have like a specific city. Because then it also like... Because the problem with Sandbox, like, I don't think Blades works well with the Sandbox type environment. Because Blades is very much like you have specific people that have specific relationships to each other and like locations and like making the locations matter, which is really difficult to do. Like, it's good in a video game because like what I don't want is a Stars Without Number style hex generator where you just like randomly generate the city, because I feel like like in Saints Row, it's open world, but like the Broken Shillelagh is like the bar where everyone gets together and like meets to go over their things. And like if you look at Blades, you have
The leaky bucket.
yeah, the leaky bucket. Like things matter because they're unique places in the city. And I think by nature of the fact of like where you start out, that'll lead to like what your gang can kind of explore in the city. Because I feel like, you know, as players,
Yeah.
I'm only familiar with in Blades the area that we started out in, and kind of like I'm most familiar with that, and then I'm less familiar with the places that we expanded out to. Like I can see the map, but looking at the map doesn't tell me what the night market is to my character, right? Like we started out with the dockers, so I know the docks and the leaky bucket and whatnot. Like I think that
Blades is more about characters and how they relate to the things around them, whereas Stars Without Number is about how your characters react to the things that end up happening around them. Like every campaign of Stars Without Number that I have ever seen or played in, it's reaction rather than action. And Blades is more about action and how that drives everything else, because you're not the only one acting. Yeah, you might have some reactions technically, like another gang might do something that you react to, but actually it's just an action. It's continued action after continued action.
so.
Like I guess it's that the players act in Blades and the GM reacts, and then Stars Without Number, the GM acts and the players react.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I was gonna say something like that.
So I'm trying to find it, but there's I really want, here we go. This is probably really small, yeah. So I want to do something like, that's one thing that Saints Row as a series does really well. It's hard to see in this map. But this is like the initial gang. The colors here are the initial gang territory, and like the major roads kind of divide. Like obviously I don't think it's going to be this ornate. Please stop me before I make it this ornate, because I definitely
No,
could.
do it.
No, that'll be like 40 hours of actual real hours. But like you can
That's
kind of
what the Kickstarter's for. Don't worry about it.
Oh god, kickstarting this, that makes me anxious. So, but this is happening. This is a real thing that's happening.
Yeah,
I said
but
it
you
would.
don't kickstart it until much later into the
Oh
process.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, so you see like how the major districts are kind of demarcated by the lines here. So like each of those are like districts in the city. And then like each of the like 3 major gangs controls like a portion of the map, like initially, and then the exploration mechanic is kind of like taking control of and doing things in those, you know, kind of like picking out what you want from there, like what districts you want. And actually, like Saints Row 2 does this better than Saints Row 3. You can lose control of districts by pressure from other gangs, and so that's very similar to things that can happen in Blades. So that's kind of like, so instead of hunting grounds like they have here, I feel like a district is a better thing. Like if you set down in, say, like the shopping mall area, like that's going to be a very ritzy thing. That might actually be like unhelpful to you. Whereas like I think one here is the trailer park, or here, and that's like in Saints Row 2, like that's a like meth head area, and like there's a lot of like drug-based operations. So like if you're going to be the producers, like if that's your racket, that would be a place for you to set up. So maybe like I'm calling it a street corner, but I feel like that's actually like it's not a hunting grounds like it is in Blades. So I don't know.
Blades also calls it something else. like depending on the playbook, it's not technically a hunting ground.
Well, no, a hunting ground is something. So look at the map and pick a district in which to place your hunting grounds. Decide how to deal with the faction that claims that area. So that's separate from your
I mean,
initial
oh, that's true. Crap. It's called something in Blades. Like in one of the playbooks specifically in Blades.
Okay, I'm looking. Because no. Hunting grounds. Sacred sites. And then sales territory. Okay, so they are...
territory would be a good...
Yeah.
Like, your
Okay.
starting territory.
Yeah. Well, let's just call it a territory, because this is all the starting things. So pick a territory... Or pick territory, actually. I like that. Pick a special ability. So I feel like... let's just call it a specialty. Because special ability, I think, is very, like, RPG-y, and I don't know how I feel about that. So gang style... That's gonna be singular.
I mean, alright, so a word that would make it, like, really work with the setting, but is also going to sound incredibly vague and non-specific, is to call it, like, pick a thing. Like, in context, like, a thing
Or
makes so much sense.
Your thing.
Yeah, your thing might be better. With capitals.
Yeah. Actually, let's capitalize all of it. Because these are all, like, proper nouns, I think, in... Pick an initial operation and crib. Like, these are all proper noun. Pick a contact. So title case, I think, is appropriate. So we have gang style, operations, cribs. I'll do advancement later. Territory. Also is on the map. So that'll be a later thing. I think I can just go ahead and... Oh, the scroll wheel is not wanting to work with me. This will just get deleted. Vice comes way later. Let's actually move that to the character creation area. Which is somewhere here. Just dump that. I'll fix character creation later. Let's say actually like cribs and territory in the same. I know those aren't together like on the choose option, but I think they should be together here. So territory. So yeah, so we want to have some. Actually, this is like. Oops. This wouldn't be the map. This is like explaining what that is. So this would be like your thing. Oops, it didn't give the... Okay. Okay, so we do have crew upgrades. I know, the game, it's a game and it's happening. This is crazy, guys. This is wild. So... Although I feel like crew upgrades is, like, again, like that's... I feel like that's too self-serious for this. So like, okay, so you have your thing.
Wait, pick a come up.
What?
Pick a come up. Like, once you get enough, you get a come up.
Okay.
Like, oh my god, this is not going to sound like you wrote this at all, and I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Like, the big things are going to... They're going to resonate with POC a lot, especially if they grew up in a city.
Yeah, like the city part